Here with my good friend Eddie today. We were just talking about moving the body. We also came onto the subject of death as well. So, yeah, Eddie, tell me about how moving the body has benefited your practice. We'll start with that.
Yeah, just right now, actually, uh, I am like witnessing energy flow and tension. And when I feel tension in a certain area, sometimes I just move, um, and it kind of shakes it out. I've heard things like with trauma, the body keeps the score. And so, if you put things in motion, emotion, like energy in motion, it can move that trauma or negativity or tension out of the body by using the body. So yeah, I've been playing with that, like squeezing the muscles and relaxing them, progressive muscle relaxation, yoga, and just mindful, joyous, fluid, rhythmic movement. Sometimes to music.
Sure. And that's been bringing a certain sort of calmness to your practice, it sounds like.
Mm, yes, I think it's bringing a lot of tension and disease and suffering out of the practice, and then the calmness comes as a byproduct. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because it's something that I see a lot of people miss is that a pretty central part of this practice is playing with the body. And the Anapanasati Sutta, there's 16 steps, but every single step is, you know, it starts with breathing in long, breathing out long, breathing in short, breathing out short. So there's pointing to movement of the body first and knowing that the body is moving first, then gladdening the mind. Step 8, where Dhamrato likes to start.
Really? He starts there?
Yeah, basically in the middle.
Step 8. Step 4 or 5. Uh, isn't that breathing, noticing joy? I think the second watch as.
Step 4 is breathing in, calming the body,
Yeah,
calming tension.
5. I think
And
5
then
is joy, right?
step 8 is gladdening the mind.
Because I've been doing like breathing in long and then short, or mindfulness of long and short, how they want to appear. Sometimes I just start with the long and then go to the short, or just witness. Maybe short wants to come first. And then, yeah, the body, then calming the body, and then breathing with joy, uh, and then breathing with happiness, and then contentment, and then equanimity more. So,
Yeah, there doesn't have to be, we don't have to be fully in control of the breath. This is sort of what I'm hearing you point to. It can be a trap for practitioners to chase after a perfect breath.
mm, that's true. The breath is perfect. Or
Good
does
enough
it?
for,
Yeah, I like good enough.
yeah. And when we make these changes to the breath of making it a bit shorter or making it a bit longer, yeah, we're just playing with it and playing with the muscles, but we're not necessarily breathing however we want to breathe.
Mm.
We're breathing based on the limitations of the body. And having fun with those. But yeah,
Yes.
it's yeah, go ahead.
I can see there might be some skill or skillfulness in chasing the perfect breath. Because there's that point where breathing becomes very sweet, uh, and just like you're fully with it and you're letting it go. And then it's like, yeah, you can acknowledge this is a better state. This feels like a better state than whatever 10 minutes ago, or the way I was breathing then. Um, so maybe it's like directing attention towards that perfect breath. Maybe not chasing, but applying the right effort and then witnessing that good, sweet breath coming. I like that. Every breath can be sweet, but some just feel sweeter.
Yeah, I can just let it be sweet. Really just let it be however that it is. And then if we see discomfort there, or we see that it's impacting the body in a way that is not worthwhile, then we can make a change to how breath is. But yeah, there's also for sure this element, this quality of being playful with how much effort we're putting into the breathing.
Hmm.
And of course, Dhammarato likes to say, just enough effort to get the job done. Well, what is the job to do?
Hmm.
Yeah, just enjoy the breath.
Enjoy the breath. Yeah. Do you have any other um, like something deliberate that you do with the breath besides just observe or put in the right effort to enjoy? Do you ever like deliberately make it long or notice shallow or deep um, or go towards deep? Like,
Yes, one thing I like to do is to play with the assumptions made about the breath, or play with things that I thought I knew before, but am not sure of now. So, one thing you'll hear is that long, deep breaths can calm the body. And so, well, can we play with a short breath, full short breath, calming the body?
mm,
Now, that doesn't mean that I go around telling people, though, oh, you should take short breaths instead. Generally speaking, the longer breaths have a tendency to calm the body, make it
mm.
easy. That's sort of that playfulness quality again. Is just you use the word deliberate. Yeah, deliberately be playful.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
A friend I was talking with yesterday was saying, "Your Dhamma practice goes hard," and
Going
it's
ham
just like,
with the breath.
no, it's not going hard.
flow.
Of course, you've heard that term, work hard, play hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
Easy.
don't work, then you can take it easy while playing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So work less and play nice and easy.
Yeah. Or make work play.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
With the short breath, I noticed sometimes I'm trying to relax and I'm focusing on like deliberately breathing long, like going to bed. And then I realized actually, if I do some shorter breaths as I'm trying to go to bed and just witness shorter breaths, that often calms me down more. And I just release the, trying to breathe in long or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many different variables, right? You know, even in just one person throughout the day, there's many variables changing. The chemistry of the mind is changing. What's going on in the gut is changing. The muscles, the spine. And so getting stuck on any sort of rules with how the breath should be, or even what makes a perfect breath, is stressful, very
Mhm.
dissatisfying.
I'm sure you hear a lot of good thoughts with all these calls that you do. You have some good thoughts that you've been thinking or like go to. Uh, what are your favorite recently?
You know, honestly, I've been playing more with not focusing so much on having verbal thoughts, but just enjoying what I'm looking at, or enjoying what I'm hearing, enjoying what I'm smelling, and sort of let that be the wholesome thought moment, we could call it. You know, appreciating that. So, you know, when you're looking at a friend, you can say to yourself, everything's fine with this friend.
Mm-hmm. Pulling the
Or, you know,
joy out of it.
I spend quite a bit of time outside and it's raining now, and I enjoy looking out at the yard and yeah, everything's okay. It's raining. Just nice to see the trees moving, the water falling. But to be honest with you, that's doesn't have to be very verbal. That can just be a feeling sort of thing. And in fact, much of this practice is to come more into the feelings and get out of those thought patterns.
Mhm.
And the wholesome thoughts that Dhammarato and the Sangha provide are really just thoughts to assist with not overthinking so much
Yeah,
that we in the Western world are so used to doing. Trained to do it, congratulated for doing it, even.
paid for it.
Yeah, paying for it, exactly. And now we think so much, we need AI on our phones to help think for us and with us. We're not
Yeah,
thinking enough. We gotta have devices think too.
AI has been helping me with the mindfulness a little bit and
Sure,
therapy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just another toy.
with the Anapanasati, I know towards the end it gets into the impermanence, uh, and it's cool that that's the order, like breath, body, joy, flattening the mind, and then now let's place our attention on things coming and going. Because trying to console somebody that's grieving, like one of my go-tos is like be okay with impermanence. Uh, but a lot of time when they're in that space, I feel like this is not skillful me for me to like say that, oh, witness everything coming and going, all phenomena is changing, because then they're focusing more on endings and vanishings and death and stuff. And I kind of want to pull them out of that frame. So I don't know if it's more skillful to then like get them to do the steps or let them grieve on their own. Like don't even try to change their process. But I like to help how I can, and I wonder what is the best way. Maybe it changes with every person, every nuanced situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just context and contextual. And that's why the practice is so focused on coming into the here now, because the context is always changing. And what we're so used to doing is developing a script in our mind. Like, oh, what do I want to say to that girl that I like? How am I going to tell my boss that I'm not coming into work tomorrow? These sort of what if scenarios, and how am I going to do this? How am I going to handle that? Uh, that's just us wanting to make a story, and then we want to make our own script for that story and say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do in that situation.
I do that
What
all
the
the time.
Buddha is, what's that?
I do that all the time.
Sure, yeah, it's very common. And what the Buddha is pointing at is put down the script. Let's bring a little bit of improv into the scene.
Mm.
And of course, how Dhammarado says it is, get off the stage.
Get off the stage. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo yourself off the stage. That's a good
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
The
And then you
ego.
can say, well, they're not booing at me. I'm no longer on the stage.
There you go. Yeah. That's playful.
But yeah, it's just if we keep practicing that coming into this moment and throwing out the scripts and just developing wholesome thoughts right now and developing a wholesome attitude, uh, you know, getting comfortable with the body, getting comfortable with the breath. If we just keep developing that, that
Mhm.
is the new script. And it's really a script that has no lines.
And from that point, if you want to write a script, the script becomes better and sharper,
Sure,
and
yeah.
outcome dependence. Because sometimes it might be good to have that response or whatever it is in your back pocket for an event. Uh, I
Yeah, we
have
can put it,
just in case they say this, I'll say that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We can put it like this. It's not unwholesome to plan. The Buddha made all sorts of plans. when a plan becomes unwholesome is when we put ourselves into it and we see it as needing to be executed. We see it as like that this plan needs to go through in order for me to feel satisfied.
Mhm.
We need to do it this way. Basically, when we make a rule out of our plans, that's when it becomes unwholesome and dissatisfying. When we make a rule out of our scripts.
The rule being what, for example?
Well, make all sorts of rules. Uh, Here's a rule that even very wholesome practitioners will get themselves into is, oh, if I see somebody fall down, I'm gonna go help them up.
It's a good rule of thumb.
It seems that way, right?
And not every
But
case.
it's tricky because context is worthwhile.
Mhm.
You may not be the best person to go help whoever fell down to get up. It may be better for you to be the one to place the 911 call because they cracked their head open falling down.
Yeah. Or if it's a burning building and you go over there to help them, you might both fall
Right.
through the floor. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what's the sense in that? But, again, these are just what if scenarios. These are just, what if that happened? What if this happened? And the truth is that, we make these sort of scripts. We make up these sort of stories because we want safety and knowing, well, if that happens, then I can do this.
Mhm.
And what the Buddhadasa is saying is that don't need to know what to do. It's okay to take it moment by moment and let this present moment, let what's happening right now inform the mind. Because what's happening right now is the most accurate data that we've got. This is true about the body as well.
I was thinking about the body as information last night, or like what is information and where is information? And yeah, the information is in the sounds in the body, the sights, and then we can draw that into the linguistic environment, or code it or decode it. But yeah, information, it's like inform. Anything that pops up as form could be information, and then we just witness it flowing. But something I've been playing with is become really good at getting like input of information, the right stuff, catering that, and output, catering the input to make me better at putting out, and the output so I'm better at receiving. Just a thought I've been playing with.
Well, this is where we can talk about flow, right? And when we're focusing on the output of the future, of, oh, here's what I'm going to say the next time this thing happens that I don't want to happen.
Mhm.
We're focusing output on that, then we're not spending our time wisely on focusing on the input that's coming in now and how we can change the output that's going out now.
And it's sometimes uh, hard to make a distinction. Sometimes the further I look into input, I see it is output or it's reflected in output. Uh, there's a similarity and a difference, and maybe a duality and a non-duality there. And it's not just input and output; it's just put, and we put in and out on the label. It's a pudding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we're eating the
Yeah,
pudding.
that was well put.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Had to-
no, there's you can even look at it in sort of a scientific way that when you take a long, deep breath in, and then when you let that air come out, there's still air in the lungs as you're letting the air out. And even
Oh,
as you breathe out, you you don't fully breathe out all of the air that's in the lungs. They don't become fully collapsed, right?
hopefully
So there's
not.
still something in the lungs. There's still input.
That's kind of fun to do. Breathe out as much as you possibly can.
Until you collapse the lungs. Yeah. Have fun with that. Don't hurt yourself.
And
You
sometimes I do it with the inhale too. Like it's like the second wind. I'll go like all the way I can, and then there's that extra like 10% of the inhale that when you like piecemeal it, it's something different about doing that. The
Yeah,
double
I
inhale.
have heard of this. I have heard of this thing called the proverbial sigh. Have you heard of that? It's basically what you're describing, where it's you take a breath in, and then you take another breath in, and then you let it out as a nice sigh.
Yeah.
Feels nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard Dhammarato recommend something, when doing the long breathing, something like 70% in uh, lung capacity, and then 30% you're breathing out, or 80%, 20% sort of thing. Because when we strain it too much, that's just too much effort. It's not worth it.
So you're saying with the inhale, fill up 70% of the lung capacity, and then exhale 70%,
Yeah,
or
or there's 30% still remainder.
okay.
But these are
Yeah,
just,
that
you
seems
know,
about right.
these are just numbers to play with. They're not really hard rules to follow.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, talking about input and output and how there's not much difference between those. We can even bring that to the mind and the thoughts of the mind, what's going on in the mind.
Is
And
this thought coming in or is this thought going out?
right, exactly. Is that thought going out and then going to materialize as some words that I would rather not actually say?
Manifest?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, sorry to say it.
But this is why it's just like have fun making wholesome changes to the mind, and looking at that process and investigating how the mind works. works. Because if we can see how the mind works, and if we can practice well, changing it into a wholesome, satisfied mind, then there really is nothing to worry about. And we won't be concerned so much with writing scripts and making up stories
Hmm.
and wishing things were different.
But I try to suggest inclining the mind to the wholesome, uh, to people that feel like they have depression or they're just really down. They may say things like, easy for you to say, you've been doing this 10 years and it's not that, you know, it's not that simple. We can't just change the way we think. Because I was suggesting to not use the words, I, I need to do this or I should do this, and instead uh, change it to like I am doing this or I will do it. I saw some study on depression that if you change that language, it was like more powerful than an antidepressant. Uh, but it can be kind of tricky. Uh, I would say like write that on the wall and then look at it all the time because it's not only remembering like good thoughts and remembering the breath, but I think it's reminding also with I mean I like notes on the wall, on the phone, on your background, but you get reminded by friends a lot uh, in content.
One phrase that I like to throw around is don't need to worry about that. I remember hearing that from DJ, but yeah, I'm sure other people in the Sangha use that as well. Don't need to worry about that. Whatever it is that comes up, don't need to worry about that. Right.
That's good. And a
And the
supplement.
thing that I would tell people that say, oh, you've been doing this for 10 years, it's like, and the way that you got to be doing it for 10 years is by doing it the same way that you're doing it now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A 10-year practice doesn't sustain itself
Uh,
without that first applying the mind to the wholesome.
yeah.
Because that's where the fruit is. That's how you get the good qualities out of it. That is the enjoyable part, is changing the mind.
With
And
the
there,
thought, don't need to worry about this now. If we were to make that like the positive version, like the antonym of worry, and not use the word don't, I wonder what that thought would be.
well, be happy
Don't worry,
now. Yeah,
be
no.
happy. Yeah, I guess that was good. I like to do that with affirmations and stuff. Um, like change the wording to where it's all positive. But sometimes the don't worry is powerful. Just the way it is.
Well, that's sort of the thing, that's the reason why it's effective is because if you just if you just attempt having wholesome thoughts, but you still really got that unwholesome thought there, just kind of like circling around in your mind over and over and over again. This is horrible, this is dreadful, blah, 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 blah. Then that unwholesome or that wholesome thought isn't really going to break through that barrier. It's not going to do a whole lot. But if you can throw out the unwholesome thought and then replace it with a wholesome thought, then that gives the mind at least a moment to brighten up.
And how does one throw out the wholesome thought, unwholesome thought?
Yeah, I mean, just as I said, I mean, saying don't need to worry about that. That is throwing it out. Don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the truth is that people want to worry about things.
Mhm. We talk about movement. I think shaking it out actually works just
Sure,
like
yeah.
yeah, then moving the body and being, I'm done with you. I might do something. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, when it comes to the breath, sometimes I'll do like a very short, fast breath through the mouth if there's like an unwholesome thought. I'm almost like visualizing throwing it out when I do this, and I go like I'm blowing out a candle or something like that. Like,
That's
but
cool.
it's just a playful exercise. It's not.
Yeah. I I tried hammering down on the wholesome, even though there was a negative thought there the other day. I was beating myself up for doing something stupid, and I was thinking like, I'm so stupid, right? Like, how could I do that? Like, I'm an idiot. And I saw myself thinking these thoughts, and I just went on for like a few minutes repeating, uh, "I'm a genius." I was like, "I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I am a genius. Like, I'm actually pretty smart. I'm pretty smart." And that was my way of dealing with like, why do I think I'm stupid? This is
Well, don't need to worry about if stupid or smart, really. Uh, what you can say is, well, that was silly.
so that's good. Yeah, that's,
I
that's,
mean, if you're gonna beat yourself up, at least have a laugh about it.
there I go being stupid again. All right, that's what
Oh, whoa.
stupidity adds to comedy, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you can turn whatever you're doing into a more fun, wholesome activity, then that's worthwhile.
Yeah,
But this
and also
this
like,
practice doesn't necessarily produce instantaneous change, but it does produce really quick change in the mind by making the mind brighter, calmer, happier, more at peace. But like the body and the thought patterns, yeah, they'll come back again. These sort of unwholesome activities or ways of speaking, yeah, they'll come back up. But the practice is to not worry so much about like, well, what is the overall state of Eddie? What is the overall state of Mikey? Is Mikey gonna think about eating pizza again today? Yeah, probably.
there goes Mikey doing Mikey.
Yeah, but it's no big deal. Yeah. And that's just like, those sort of things are like not what we need to concern ourselves with until it arises in the mind right now. Because when we take that perspective, that's also when we can really see that it's impersonal. Talking about the input output again, is it's like, you can't really say, well, where did that thought come from, or who said that, or how did I hear that? And even this thought of like, oh, I'm stupid or oh, I'm smart, that's taking it a bit too personally.
What about
That's,
is this action harmful? Was that action harmful? Would that be
yeah,
too personal or
no, it's not personal to investigate, is what is being done right now causing harm? But, that question really opens it up because it's not so much about me, but it's also not so much about the other person who may be in the room.
hmm,
It's also not so much about the bugs and the dog that's walking around or whatever else is in your present environment. It's just, is this action harmful?
is this action helpful?
Is this action helpful? Is this wholesome? Is this worth doing? Now that really gives the mind a playground. Instead of trying to follow a script, instead of trying to solve some riddle or get some prize, it's just like, is this wholesome? Is this thought wholesome?
How could this thought not be wholesome? Yeah, because sometimes I'm too obsessed with the wholesome. I'm like, why am I differentiating? Yeah,
Yeah, well, there we don't have to get into the habit of judging wholesome as being good, even. Wholesome is just what's true. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. I mean, wholesome is just being honest. Another word that I like to use is, yeah, worthwhile, true and worthwhile.
I like that. I think you
Is it
said the
true?
other day,
Go ahead.
wholesome is just being whole or complete.
Yeah, just being complete. Yeah, exactly. Not having a sense of lack or feeling that we're lacking something.
One of my practices is to lean towards excitement. Like
Sure.
what feels that 1% better? Curiosity, maybe in the moment, exploration, or maybe it's do nothing. I guess it's a balancing act of this practice. It's choose joy and excitement in PT, and then that wants to come to like a natural end, and then you start going to sukha and contentment and relaxation, and then that is a feedback loop to like then start feeling really good again. And I tend to like I like go back and forth until I'm like sucked down by some hindrance or defilement, and then I have to like work my way back up.
Yeah. Yeah. And can get back up with a bit of pity. But that's the thing is like the more that one practices, the easier it is to stay in that flow between piti and sukha. And there does come this moment where uh, yeah, we don't need to label things so much as wholesome or unwholesome. But this is where we really are satisfied, we really are taking it easy, just enjoying right now, chilling. How I've heard Dhammarato put it before is, we're just uh, like a cowboy sitting next to a tree with our hat tilted down.
Straw in the mouth.
Yeah. And if the horse starts going wild again, and we can lift that hat up. Sometimes all it takes is a look, and that horse will calm right back down.
Yeah, yeah. Hold your horses.
Yeah, hold your horse.
I enjoyed this call, man. I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon, though.
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna end
I
it
did.
with some.
Do you have a moment for us to touch on death? I did want to touch on that just a bit.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, we're talking about input and output and motion and the flow of things. And one really wholesome way I've found to look at death is just another way of bringing life into the world.
Mm, I like that.
It and I mean in that way nothing really ever truly completely dies.
Mm.
There's still that domino effect happening. And things live on in all sorts of different ways, like through people's memories or through inspiring people, change. And
Sometimes
so, yeah, go ahead.
uh, sometimes I compare grief with others, and sometimes I'm just very stoic, or I've just got so much momentum. Like, my cat died today, so this is a really to heart topic, and uh, I'm like, is it okay to be stoic, especially like in this Western culture? A lot of the time, you feel pressured uh, to be sad by everybody that is like at the funeral or whatever, or at least somber and respectful. Uh, and then it becomes this like ego kind of trip or whatever, where it's like, I'm affected more by this death than you are. I love them more. Look how much I love this person, and they're just like wailing away. Uh, but maybe that's just me projecting onto them. I don't know. I have my own way of dealing with it. But my favorite way to honor and respect somebody is, yeah, think about all the good times that we had and that they would want me to feel good. Like even my cat
Yeah.
likes to make me feel good, right? So it's not necessarily disrespectful if I don't cry or whatever, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
And throw a party instead.
Yeah, I like being able to focus on impermanence and be okay with it. It's A
Yeah,
challenge.
it's good news.
Oh yeah, the things come and go.
Yeah, good news. Now we can have an unwholesome attitude about it and view it in this way that it's really scary. We can say, well, I don't want things to change. I want my friends and my pets to stay around forever. But now you have room for another cat to come along. Now you have room to make another friend.
Always room for more good friends. Hmm. Yeah, I'm like deliberately trying not to spiral down into negative thoughts because I've seen, others do it. And then so it's like right when I have a negative thought, I just like nip it in the bud,
Yeah.
uh, or think it's opposite, or just let it be and not follow the rabbit hole. It's a temptress.
Because there's not a rabbit in that hole, it's a snake.
There is a snake in my hole.
Yeah. And it does bite.
Oh god, that's true.
But yeah, our friends and our pets, they like for us to be happy and at peace. And that is such a nice way to respect them. It's by practicing being happy and at peace right now. We're doing this for the benefit of others, benefit of future generations, and of course for the benefit of ourselves.
Yeah, I thought about that today. Like, how can I best help uh, the people that come after me? Like, even if it's my kids or their kids. And I was like, well, if I just fully like release all the trauma from the ancestors uh, by inclining to the wholesome now and doing the practice, and that's like what I could do for them.
Yeah, yeah, practice well, my friend. It's been really nice talking with you today, Eddie. Glad to see you again.
Likewise, Mikey.
Yeah,
Stay well, man. Keep taking care of Dhammarato. Make sure he's getting all the base needs. I'm sure you help him out with all that.
well, I'm not sure if I'm taking care of him or if he's taking care of me.
There you go. That's awesome. It's awesome seeing his attitude about it too. Yeah, yeah. A good attitude goes a long way. Well, thanks, Mikey. I'll let you go,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, very nice to see you, Eddie. This has been very fun. Have a good
All
one.
right, do it again. Peace.
Yeah, that sounds good.